So welcome to the Dog Pound. I'm your host today, Ed McDonough, and I'm just so honored to have with us as our guest today our alum, Jon Cortizo. Jon, welcome to our show.
Thank you.
Jon graduated in 2007 and went on to go to Emerson College eventually and ended up in LA and then New York. His credits include The Good Wife. He's worked for Oprah Winfrey. He now has his own production company called Pleasant Oak Productions, which he started here in Canton with his best friend Annie Finara, and he's gone on to some great acclaim. Called me up earlier this week and said, hey, I'm going to be in town to do a shoot for Nightline in Lincoln. Do you want me to come in? I said, sure. So, Jon, thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me back.
Oh, always welcome. And got to meet some of your old teachers today, and it was really nice to see them all. And Mrs. Briggs had some interesting advice to you when you said you wanted to go into the film industry. What was that?
She said, unless you're Steven Spielberg's son, you're not going to succeed.
And what you're saying at that time is it's a really tough field to go into. And it is, but there's more opportunities than ever now with social media marketing and whatnot. Can you tell us a little bit about what some of the opportunities are now that weren't there when you were a kid?
Yeah, I mean, when I was in high school, YouTube was founded in 2005. So I got to high school 2004, or 3 rather.
Wow.
So there was no YouTube, and high-speed internet had just been installed here. And smartphones hadn't been a thing yet, like the iPhone hadn't been invented yet. So there was no digital video. It was like, in the social media sense, it was just television and feature films and commercials. And streaming was not a thing yet either. So the industry was much smaller. It was much harder to get into. And you needed a lot more money to make a movie or any of your own content back then.
So let's talk about maybe first some of the projects you did. I know in Galvin Middle School, you bought your first camera with your lunch money. Can you tell us that story?
That's right. I started playing out with my dad's cameras, and he gave me a VHS camcorder in 5th grade, and it broke after 2 weeks. So I saved up all of 6th grade, and then going into 7th grade, I bought a high-8 video camera for $400. And I shot that camera all through middle school, and I kept it in my locker. And I basically vlogged that whole year. Before, there was no vlogging back then. It wasn't a term. But I would talk to the camera and then interview people and then bring it around and talk to the camera like Casey Neistat style. And then I would cut together different scenes that I would put on like a VHS, like in Tony Hawk, and actually hand it out to people. And they would leave actual comments on the label on the tape. And if they liked it, they would leave a good comment, and I wouldn't actually see the tape because they would actually share it with people. Like, they would take the tape and share it with their friends, and I wouldn't see that tape come back for like a month.
Wow.
But if the video sucked, it'd come back in like 2 days. And
Unbelievable.
So.
Came to the high school, and you had a great career, and you had a saying, your 2 years at Canton High. Tell us about that, what your experience here was and informed you going forward.
Yeah, so I started messing around in this class my freshman year because it was across the hall from Ms. Hahn's class, who was Ms. Hayes back then, and I was making video projects in her class, and she recommended that I go into your editing suite to use the editing machines, because up to that point, I'd only been editing tape to tape. Like, I would take my video camera and plug it into the VCR, and I would hit record on the VCR whenever I wanted a moment from my video camera, and then like you hit record and then pause on the VCR, and like that's how you would make your edit. So when I was in 9th grade, that was when like PCs were powerful enough to handle video for like the first time. So
moving forward, you wrote, you got an Emmy Award or a Student Emmy Award. I believe they call it the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences High School Division. And you received one at your senior year. Can you tell us about that project?
Yeah, that was like my senior thesis, effectively, called The Escape, where I just made a short film that whole year. And it was about 8 minutes, and it was about an actual thing that happened to me in 8th grade, where it was the day when chorus and band all went to Canopy Lake Park. And you either went on that or you just didn't go to school. And I was I was amongst 3 jabronis who went to school anyway, and it was like dead there. So one kid was like, well, we should bust out of here and go to this barbecue that Jake Graziano's having at his place. So the three of us escaped or tried to escape out of science to get out. But that was when like the Galvin Middle School first installed security cameras, and they were hyped up about it, and they always had a live feed in the principal's office. So they saw us, like they immediately tracked us. So like the first kid, I think it was Mr. Curvin came out, and he saw all three of us, and we started booking it. And then one kid kind of laid back and kind of set a pick for us, and he kind of distracted him while me and the other kid like booked it. And then the other kid got spooked out at the door, and he bailed, and then I just bolted, and then I made it through the town back to my house and then back to his house. But then the kids were leaving, and they were like, the barbecue's over. Also, if you sign in at the start of the day and you're not there at the end of the day, you're going to get suspended, because they do attendance twice. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I was told. So I tried to escape back into the school, but my mom saw me running down the street, and then she picked me up and brought me to the principal's office, and I got a serious detention penalty for that.
But it's all about writing what you know.
Yeah.
And could you talk a little bit about the idea of a conflict and characters' wants and needs, maybe a little bit?
Yeah. Well, when I was in your class trying to come up with student films, I was like, the real secret sauce is a character that wants something. And if I can just film that chase, like whatever that pursuit is, and either they get it or they don't, then I have something for a film. But it's all about having that main character and that goal and that pursuit, and having lots of things get in the way. And the more visual it is, the better it is. And the less, what I learned is that if you're dealing with student actors, the less they spoke, the better the movie is, because most student actors aren't very good. So if it's like a silent film, try to skew in that direction.
You were with us when we went on one of our first California trips. There we met Marianne Franco, who at the time was the head of the camera department at Paramount. Tell us about how she's helped sow some seeds of that go to this day, where we have alums help students reach back.
Yeah. Well, after I made a bunch of student films in this class, you introduced me to her. I think I was in 10th grade. And then she saw those films and then saw potential. And then she connected me to someone that she knew that she had gone to college with. She went to Emerson. And when I got out of Emerson, this person that she connected me to ended up being like one of the top camera assistants on like big shows, big movies and shows in New York and Boston. And then he got me on as a camera assistant first year out of college. And then it just took off from there.
Fast forward, you're in college. You did the same for some kids. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, at Emerson, I just came back here and tried to teach as much as I could, just little workshops, and then also a bunch of the guys here wanted to work on a college film and see what it was like, so they ended up crewing a bunch of my senior projects. We were able to win a couple of Evvies for that, but it was mainly because we had a really talented crew. Whereas if I had just tried to do it myself, I wouldn't have been able to pull off nearly as much.
And where do these kids end up that you trained?
Yeah, Zach ended up, he's a big videographer in New England. Dan is on Drew Barrymore as a script supervisor. Ben ended up being a writing assistant, and now he's a locations scout. So they're all in the business. And
Joe Sabatino, who didn't go into the industry, went into engineering, he credits his experiences working and managing sets to his success in business.
Yeah.
So you went on to Emerson. Then after Emerson, you graduated. Tell us where the winds of the world brought you.
Yeah, after Emerson, I ended up working on Amazing Race for a couple seasons, and I would do Amazing Race when I was on hiatus from The Good Wife. So it was Good Wife and Amazing Race on and off for 3 years, and then that became Royal Pains, and then Kimmy Schmidt, and as a day player, and a bunch of other shows. Nurse Jackie was a day player, and then I bought a C100 when I was 27, and then I started shooting nonprofit videos and editing them because I was getting bored of just assisting on big shows and not having creative input. And then after a couple years, those little nonprofit videos became job offers at Elle Magazine and Cosmo and fashion magazines, and I started shooting fashion videos. And then that became short documentaries, which led me to where I am now, which is a show called Impact on Hulu that is produced by Nightline, which is like a weekly documentary show.
And that brought you up to New England this week. Can you tell us about what you're working on tomorrow?
Yeah, it's a story about Liver King. For those that don't know, it's a dude who claimed that he got really jacked eating liver, but turns out he was on like 30 G's of roids every month. It's largely a story about social media and body identity and you know, the forces of capitalism involved in all that stuff. So it's an exploration of all that.
Is there any other projects that you can talk about that you're working on?
Not outside the jurisdiction of an NDA, but I can say that there are things cooking, and I'm hoping to have something financed that would become a feature documentary.
And I guess before we wrap it up, you're telling me this past week about helping some Canton alums who were doing music videos. And just like Marianne Franco reached back and made some connections for you, you made some connections. Can you tell us that story?
Yeah. Sorry, say that again.
The two Dans.
Oh, the two Dans.
So the Academy
Oh,
Award
yeah,
winner.
Yeah, so a bunch of the folks who worked on my Emerson movies who came from this class, we reached out to Dan Kwan, who was the co-director of Everything Everywhere All at Once, and we just got coffee with him. Dan Kwan was actually the first person I met at Emerson because he's a year older than me. So I met him in the bathroom at the urinal next to me, quite frankly, and I was like, "Hey man, I'm John." He's like, "Yo, I'm Dan. What are you doing here?" And I'm like, "It's my first day here." Yeah, and he was cool. He was a really nice guy, but his secret sauce was that he was very nice to people and didn't compete against his peers, and he had a following of people who helped him make music videos and short films that got Vimeo staff picks very early on. And he learned After Effects, and he applied After Effects to his videos, and he got the Turn Down for What video, and all of that led to Swiss Army Man. But he would speak to it better than I could. But from what I gather, he was a really nice guy, and his strength was the community of people he built around him. So
great advice.
Yeah.
So I'm going to just finish it up. You got to meet Michaela Costello today, our Lip Dub director. She manages the Bulldog athletic Instagram account. Tell us about some of her work and where you might see her succeeding down the road if she so chooses.
Yeah. I saw some of her work, and she just has excellent instinct and a gift for shooting and cutting together video. And she's doing stuff that, she's using cameras in a way that I didn't really learn how to do until I was in college. DSLRs weren't a tool available to my generation until like my senior year of college. Like I remember being at Emerson when Shane Hurlbert came around with a 5D. So like when I got into Emerson in 2008, and everyone was shooting film. All the videos, like all the theses were on film for the most part. And then 2011, the 5D had come out, and most of them were digital. So it was right at that turning point. So yeah, she's just using these tools really effectively in a way that it took, it took us longer to figure that out. So she's well ahead of the curve.
I wish we could talk longer today, but time calls. The public period's going to end in a second. Just can't thank you enough, John, for being here today. We look forward to seeing your career rise in the future, and can't thank you enough for reaching back out and helping Canton kids as always.
No problem.
For Canton Community Television, I'm Ed McDonough. Thanks for watching. This has been The Dog Pound.
You know what? I don't really like this game. Want to see something cool?
Sure. This program is brought to you by Canton Community Television. Now, from the television studios of Canton High School.
I'm your host, Tyler Finland. Today we have Joe Blizzard, who's a member of the JV hockey team. We're going to talk to him about the upcoming season. Joe, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having me, Tyler. It's a pleasure to be here.
Joe, explain how you first started playing hockey.
So, I was about 4 years old, and my mom and my dad signed me up for hockey at Pog Arena, Canton. I was really excited to play. I've always grown up like watching the Bruins and stuff, and I kind of looked to them as like idols almost. Yeah. Like I was just really loved how the way they played. And hockey, just like the first day I played it, first day I picked up a stick, really just made me feel a different way. Yeah. Physically and like emotionally, I just loved it, and I fell in love with the sport. Still play to death.
Who's like a player on the Bruins that you like looked up to as an idol growing up?
Honestly, like Patrice Bergeron, like I just like he's just a star of the team. Like I always knew him, always knew his number. Even picked that number when I was younger. Yep. Yeah, I loved that. He was a great guy.
Like, what was your like best memory growing up playing hockey?
Oh geez, there's so many memories because I've played for so long. But I'm gonna have to say probably my first goal.
First goal.
That was one of the best memories I've had. It just made me feel a certain way. Like when I still score goals to this day, so I still get that same feeling every time. Still get just as excited.
Walk us through that like first goal that you had.
So I remember I was Mighty Mites. Probably around 4 years old. Like I said, just got the puck on my stick, skated up the ice, and just put it past the goalie. I just remember I was filled with joy. I could hear the crowds roaring my name. You know, it was just it was magical.
Yep.
Moment I'll never forget.
Describe some of the struggles you had to face when you were like learning how to play hockey.
When I was learning how to play hockey, lots of struggles. Obviously, just had to start playing, didn't really know the sport much. Feel like, but one of the main struggles was definitely skating. That's tough to skate, very tough to skate. Just a lot of balance, a lot of hard work on your legs. Makes you really tired. So that was definitely the toughest thing for me. But once I overcame that, just everything else started coming together for me.
How'd you like overcome that? Like, how'd you start to learn how to skate when you were growing up?
Honestly, just a lot of hard work and like determination. Just always going to practice, always being ready to play, just working hard all the time.
Yeah. Compare your first year of high school hockey to like youth hockey.
So high school hockey to youth hockey was definitely a big change. I just remember the first day of high school hockey, came in there, just a serious vibe. No one was really talking. Everyone was kind of like just very serious. But it was more just like, wasn't like just a fun activity with your friends anymore. I really felt like it was a sport. Yep. Like something that was challenging for me. And I loved that though. It made me feel like it was tough. I like a challenge, you know? It was tough there. Tough place to be. But yeah, like youth hockey, I just remember like with the boys just like having a good time. It didn't really mean much, but high school hockey means something, so. Yeah.
What did like you enjoy most about playing high school hockey?
I just love how much it means, cause like you gotta take it seriously, and like when you win a game, it just means that much more because you work so hard for that win. So.
Like what like struggles do you face during high school hockey season compared to like youth hockey?
Probably just like a lot harder work. Like I feel like you're practicing a lot more almost every day with high school hockey, and just like lots of sprints, lots of extra hard work. Just really tiring on the body and mentally too. It's just mentally challenging. Explain
your first high school hockey game, like what it was like.
Oh geez. So I had my first high school hockey game was actually a scrimmage against Hingham team, Hingham JV. And that was a tough game for not just me, but the team too. Yeah. I remember I was very nervous before the game. It was my first game ever. Wanted to put on a show for the team, show them I belonged, but did not do that. We ended up, I think we lost 9-0. Would that be right, Tyler?
I'm pretty sure something like that last year.
Yeah, that was a very tough game for us. We really struggled, but over the season, we just really overcame those struggles. We worked really hard to get better, and we definitely made a difference at the end of the year.
What do you think we did best throughout the year, like overcoming those struggles?
I feel like we just more like it was like I feel like the first game maybe we just kind of be an individual effort, but at the end of the year, just the team really came together. Team effort. Yeah. We really worked together as a team. We were a tough, gritty team to play against. We didn't let any teams walk all over us like we did that first game. So.
Yeah. Speaking of that team, how was the JV season, JV team like last year?
Oh, it was a blast. A lot of friends on the team. It was a journey. I loved it. I wouldn't trade it for anything else. It was such a great time playing hockey. There were definitely some tough moments. Like I remember skating at practice. There were some days I just didn't want to be there. I'm going to be honest with you, but looking back on it, glad everything happened.
Yeah. What do you think like the best part of that team was?
Honestly, just hang like the boys. It was a great team, great team to be around. Our chemistry was through the roof. I mean,
Yeah.
we loved each other. We were more than just a team. We were like a family out there.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was one of the big things that made us such a good team.
Yeah. Describe some of the struggles that you individually faced throughout the season last year.
Some struggles I overcame were I feel like at the beginning of the year I wasn't really playing that much. I was kind of struggling against new higher competition, but I worked my way up. I started playing a little bit more at the end of the year, which was really good. But yeah, it was definitely tough at the beginning. It was a lot quicker speed of the game. Haven't played at this before, and higher level, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Tough challenge.
Yeah. Did you enjoy that challenge and faster speed?
I did enjoy that challenge. It definitely changed the game for me. It made me think about it in a different way and think of it more of a challenge. You know?
Yeah. Tell us about some of your favorite moments of last season, either like on the team or just like throughout the year.
There was a lot of great moments, but one of my favorite was probably like the game that versus Archie's. I had a great game that game. Ended up scoring 2 goals, and I feel like that game I was so happy because I felt like finally I was like doing something. I felt like at the beginning of the year I wasn't really doing much producing for the team. Wasn't putting up many points on the board, so that was great. Really changed this season around for me.
Walk us through those 2 goals and like how you felt during and like after those goals happened.
I just remember it was a close game, so the whole game we ended up losing, but it was only a 1-goal game, and I just remember putting my first goal on the back of the net pretty early on in the game, and it just got us off to a hot start, and it definitely got me off to a hot start. My confidence grew so much after that, and I was able to bury another one later on in the game. So.
Yeah. We were actually on the same team last year. We shared some ice together. Tell us about like some of the strong players on the team last year and like how they made some contributions.
There were many strong players on the team last year. A couple of them on varsity this year, like our friend Tyler here. They definitely helped the team win. Like if they weren't there, we wouldn't have won nearly as many games. They put a lot of points up on the board, but most importantly, I feel like they taught me really just how to be a high school hockey player. They were older at the time, so they knew what they were doing. They knew that it was a very serious thing, and like they taught me how to just like not just how to be like on the ice, but how to be in the locker room and around my coaches and stuff, which was great. I thank them a lot for that.
Yeah. Who were some of those people that taught you about the culture that we have here?
Maybe you, Tyler Finland, Kevin LaBelle, and Brennan Clegg. I think those are the main 3 for me. They were great players.
Yeah, all role models. Explain your feelings going into this upcoming season on JV.
I'm very excited. Made JV again. Nothing I can do about it now, but I'm very happy about the upcoming season. A lot of great games coming up soon. Just fresh slate, new year. Hopefully I can get off to a hot start and play a lot of minutes this year and put some points up on the board.
Yeah. Well, what are your expectations for yourself, or like what are your goals for this season?
For myself, I just want to be able to produce more than I did last year and just show that I've improved. Because I've been working hard all over the summer. I just want to show them that I have improved. You know, I don't want to I didn't put up that many points last year. I want to maybe double that number and hopefully be a strong member of the JV hockey team.
What like contributions do you hope to make, and like what are some things you hope to like improve on as the season goes on, like skills wise?
I feel like I just need to put the puck in the back of the net a lot more. I only had I think 4 goals last year, which was not very good for how many games we played. I just gotta keep scoring. I gotta work hard and just be a little more physical too. I feel like I was kind of shying away from hits with the bigger kids. I'm a sophomore now. Got to be ready to play some of these younger kids and show them that who's the real boss out there. You know.
Yeah. What are some things that you can do to get your body ready and just like and to like improve on what you just said?
A lot of practice, a lot of hard work. We've been practicing a lot this week. Going to be practicing up to our first game. Just going to be working really hard in practice and making sure I stay healthy, staying out of trouble and stuff, you know.
Yeah. You said your first game. When's that? When's your first game?
First game is Thursday, December 15th in Walpole, so that should be a challenge. Good team, Walpole, always been a good team, but hopefully we can take them down. great team this year. So.
How's your team looking this year? Do you think you can beat them?
I think we're looking good just from the first couple practices we had. We already have some good chemistry going together. Looking good. We had a lot of skill on the team this year, but it's going to be tough. Walpole's a great team. Play a lot of good teams this year, so we'll have to see.
Yeah. Who are some people on the team that you think are going to make big strides this year and improve a lot this season?
I'm gonna have to say the Gong brothers. They last year they didn't play like all that much, but they did play. But this year they're just looking great in practice.
Great.
They've been really working hard. I can definitely tell. All three of them, Charles, Pat, and Will. They're great role models too. Great kids.
Yeah. You like what they can do this year? They're going to make some contributions.
I love what they're doing. Just so far in practice, they're just making lots of changes to their game, and they're looking like they're going to be some of the biggest contributors to the team this year.
What do you think they can do off the ice for your team, like build up the chemistry?
Oh, off the ice, they're just great kids. Very, very intelligent. Maybe like they could even just help me out with my math work a little bit. They're really smart kids, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Joe, we can't thank you enough for your time today. We wish you and your teammates well in the season ahead. For Canton Community Television, I'm Tyler Finland. Thanks for watching.
This has been an F Period production. Joe Blizzard, Viola Bonwell, Kevin Brophy, David Carlson, Anthony Delizia, Liam Doherty, John Feeney, Tyler Finland, Tyler Kelly, Andrew Kuracek, Ernst Marcer, Brendan Marshall, Carlos Mendez, Carolyn Shivo, Madeline Smith, James Young.
You're watching the Student Station on Canton Community Television.